Hello, this is Susan Poss at Spartanburg Community College, and today I wanted to talk with you about finding or writing equations of lines if you know some things about the line. And as you look at this first example, you can see that I know the slope of the line and I know a point on the line, but I don't have the equation of the line. So that's what I'm looking for, is the equation of the line. So when you know these two pieces of information, you know the slope and the point, you want to use this formula. And it's pretty easy to see where the slope substitution is going to go. The x that does not have a subscript remains in the formula. Then you write down the minus, and then you go to your point and you find the x coordinate and you insert that. Now let me come back to this left-hand side. You leave the letter y in there, put down the minus, and then go to your point and pick up the y coordinate. So you really got your equation already at that point, but as I go back here and read my instructions, it doesn't want it in point-slope form, it wants it in slope-intercept form. Well, what does that look like? Well, slope-intercept form has the equation solved explicitly for the letter y, and everything else has been shifted to the right-hand side. So let me do a couple of things here. I'm going to distribute this 7/3 times x. And of course 7/3 times 0 is just 0, so I'm not going to write anything else down there. And continuing on, let me rewrite this. I need to add 1/10 to both sides. And now I'm ready to stop because I have this equation. That's what we were trying to find, was an equation. I have this equation written in slope-intercept form where I can identify the slope is 7/3, and if I wanted to, I could tell you that it crosses the y-axis at 1/10. And of course you can see this was the y-intercept back here, so this all makes absolutely perfect sense. Let's do one more quickly. Let me write down my formula. And I'll do some replacing here. In place of the slope, I'm entering the -1/2. Keep the letter x, and the x with, put down the minus, and the x with the subscript. Notice that my x coordinate of the point is 0. Keep the letter y, write down the minus, and then pick up the y-intercept from the point. And one more little step here is because the instructions want me to put it into slope-intercept form. I'm multiplying by the -1/2, sorry, not to forget that. -1/2 and the x, and then -1/2 times 0, of course, is 0. So one last move, and that's to add 4/5 to both sides, and you can see what the equation looks like. So we found an equation. And again, this identifies the y-intercept, and you can see that's what we started with. That's not a coincidence. So if you have the y-intercept to start with, you really can shortcut and just go ahead and plug in the slope here using this formula, and you can plug in the y-coordinate of the y-intercept. And that's a good place to stop with writing equations using point-slope form.